Chapter 15. Aren't donuts healthy? When I came back into the classroom after lunch, there was a terrible row going on by Mr. Wiggles's cage. Gamble was looking confused and holding a half-eaten donut in his hand. Mrs. McDonald was looming over him, her face bright purple. "What do you mean you were giving him a treat?" she screamed. I noticed she had a tiny bubble-wrap waistcoat in her hands. "Yeah, I thought you might like something nice to eat, miss," shrugged Gamble. "I thought you'd be pleased, miss." Inside the cage, I could see the fat guinea pig guzzling down the mangled-up chunks of donut that Gamble must have posted through the bars. Mrs. McDonald opened the cage door and tried to take it off him. "Yow!" she screamed, suddenly yanking her hand out of the cage and shutting the door. She held her finger and shook her head. "Mr. Wiggles has never bitten me before. Never!" Gamble shrugged again. "Oh, he must really like that donut then." Mrs. McDonald glared at him. "I'm trying to get him to lose weight for the British Championships, and you're stuffing him full of junk food." "Junk food?" asked Gamble, scratching an angry zit on his scalp. "Aren't donuts healthy?" "What?" cried Mrs. McDonald. "Yeah, they're full of jam in it, and jam's fruit," he said. Inside the cage, Mr. Wiggles was chomping the donut down like crazy, his jaws whizzing up and down like a pneumatic drill. "Donuts are deep-fried in oil, and they're absolutely stuffed full of sugar," said Mrs. McDonald. "Have you any idea what that much sugar could do to a delicate piggy-wiggy?" This question was answered by Mr. Wiggles. He hoovered up the last remaining crumbs of the donut and stood still for a moment, his head jerking from side to side. Then he went completely nuts. It was terrifying. Mr. Wiggles charged round and round his cage in a whirlwind of sawdust, then flung himself against the bars. His eyes were wild, and he was snapping at the metal bars with his teeth. There was red stuff coming out of his mouth, which was probably jam, but it looked like blood. The whole cage was rattling. We all took a step backwards. Then suddenly he flopped down and lay very still. "Is it dead?" yawned Miss Clegg. The guinea pig answered by snoring really loudly. "Oh, I get like that when I eat sugar, miss," said Gamble. "That's why I like it. I go crazy wild, then I have a big sleep. It's well good." Mrs. McDonald snatched the remainder of the donut off Gamble, put it back into the gift bag, and shoved it into the high cupboard above the sink, where she keeps all the paints. "Detention, tomorrow," she growled. Mrs. McDonald," said Rosie Taylor. "It's not all Darren's fault. Roman gave him the donut." Mrs. McDonald turned towards me. "Detention for you too." I wanted to explain how unfair this was, but suddenly Gamble grabbed me round the shoulder. "Oh yeah, brilliant. Best mates in detention together, yeah?" I put my head in my hands. All I wanted yesterday was to eat a donut. Just one innocent jam donut. And now, here I was, forced to organise an old people's tea party with my greedy pig of a girlfriend who would stop at nothing for more sweet treats, and in big trouble, along with my new best mate, who just happened to be completely insane. That deadly donut was slowly ruining my life.